How did Illinois score -2 points in the last 6 minutes and 46 seconds? You can see they jumped out to an early lead 6-17 and the crowd was going nuts. But somehow Izzo and crew were able to weather the storm, and let me show you how. And I'll fill you in on the -2 points. First things first, I want to show you how intense this game was. I mean, look at the bodies flying all over the floor, and then Moraz with this two-hand block, and he comes down hitting his face on the hardwood. Both teams were just laying it all out there. So how was MSU able to mount a first half comeback? To me, there's two players that deserve the most props, and that's Cohen Carr and Trey Holloman. Look at this baseline drive and double pump dunk by Cohen, but it wasn't just the dunking for Carr. He even had a nice little floater slash jumper in the lane that went down. Michigan State was running into some trouble, which we've seen this year with Fears, where they sag off and clog the lane, but Fears was able to make some things happen that don't show up on the stat sheet. But because that lane clogging was causing some trouble, it really became Trey's night to run the show. If you watch my video on Trey, you know that I love Trey's game, and he did not disappoint last night. He was just lethal in the mid-range on multiple occasions, and he was just doing some cone work out there with his ball handling. Not only was Trey deadly in the mid-range, he also kept his foot on the gas and made sure with the absence of Fears on the court, he was still pushing the ball. And probably most importantly, late in the game, he got into a nice two-man game with Coop that helped seal the deal. So you might be wondering about the -2 points. Well, this goaltending right here was actually reversed. So that's how Illinois was able to score -2 in the last 6 minutes and 46 seconds. You can see from the back of their warm-ups that Izzo's mantra for the team this year is strength in numbers. You might know that they go 10-11 deep on any given game, and the strength in numbers mantra rang true in a lot of ways last night. It definitely wasn't just Trey and Cohen, even though they were instrumental to the first half. Jace was out there getting buckets, and then in the 13 to 10 minute stretch, when things could have really went sour for Michigan State, Jaden Akins really carried that time with 3 straight buckets. You might be wondering how I could have possibly gone this long without mentioning Jackson Kohler, and I'll tell you it wasn't very easy. But here we are. Jackson was all over the offensive glass last night, and he was on fire from outside. I knew with the mechanics of his shot, he was just kind of due for one of these games where they just drop for him. He doesn't miss left to right often. It's normally short. And when you're playing a good game and you have your legs under you, those tend to go down. And by now we all know that Kohler loves the fake drop step, spinning back to that baby hook, and it was going for him last night. And how about the icing on the cake with the ball getting knocked off a knee, popping out to Kohler, and right before the shot clock expires, he hits another 3. So it really ended up being Jackson's night, but there was big contributions from Akins, Jace, Trey, Cohen, Cooper, and really the whole crew. So I'm beginning to be bought into this strength in numbers because Illinois did look worn down and started missing shots later in the game. If you watch my tier list video, you know that I'm a big believer in this Illinois team, and Will Riley and Morez Johnson were giving State trouble all night. Izzo even had to pause in the high five line and give Morez his props. So Izzo's got win 354 behind him and the monkey off his back. Now let's see if Michigan State can make a push for the Big Ten title and keep this momentum going into March.